Welcome to my channel, Clark the Realtor. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get started.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Devon Clark, Clark the Realtor. I am a local realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. And today we're going to dive into this whole thing around the 19,000 corporate rentals in regards to the metropolitan area of Atlanta. And then also a little bit of my stories when it came to working with renter clients and actually showing them some of these properties and how they had squatters inside of them. But before we get into this, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, put your notification bells on to be alerted whenever I upload new videos to the channel. And hopefully you guys have joined this channel because either you want to have conversations like this or you just enjoy the house tours that I put on the channel in regards to the Metro Atlanta area, so you can kind of check out what's going on, the price range, and see what type of houses are available in our market. But nonetheless, let's jump into this particular topic.
But a recent study found that just 3 companies, known to customers as Progress Residential, Invitation Homes, and Main Street Renewal, own more than 19,000 homes in the metro area.
The homes that most of these companies are buying are exactly the kind of starter homes that 15, 20, 30 years ago would have been first-time home buyers.
And in certain areas, these corporations can own most of the homes in a neighborhood. Take this street, where every single house you see is owned by Invitation Homes, built to rent and not to buy, impacting the entire market as a whole.
It makes it impossible to find a deal.
Jordana Haig says the end result has led to higher prices as corporations have bought up much of the supply of homes, pushing up house prices while also allowing them to control the rent.
That's problematic because there should be more competition to keep prices reasonable.
But for others like DeMar Madison, these rental homes allow folks to try out home ownership without the full commitment.
You need a new roof? You call Invitation, tell them, hey, I need a new roof. So I think it just varies. I think it depends on the person.
All right, you guys, so we just watched this video in regards to 3 corporate companies owning 19,000 rentals in the metropolitan Atlanta area. And like I said, I am a local realtor in the metropolitan Atlanta area. And also I have come across these particular homes and also squatters because, again, people have reached out to me that are either relocating or in Atlanta metropolitan area looking for rentals. As of right now in my career, no more, I do not take on rentals. However, I always can shift you guys to a wonderful realtor or a colleague in my office that does an excellent job in regards to rentals. So if you are interested in renting, you can always still reach out to me. I can help you the best I can. Like I tell people, I don't want to do you a disservice, so I always would love to pass you off to someone else that can help you. But I am here to if you have any questions in regards to the rental process or what happens in the state of Georgia, metropolitan area of Atlanta, I am definitely here to assist you with those questions. But anyway, let's kind of dive into, like I said, these 3 corporate companies. So you have in our area, Main Street Renewal, you have Invitation Homes, and you also have Progress Residential. These are 3 companies that have bought a lot of single family houses in the metropolitan Atlanta area. And they stated in this video that 19,000 homes are owned between these 3 companies. However, there are also numerous other corporate companies in our area as well. And as far as a total of, I believe it's either over 30,000 plus single family homes are owned by corporate investors as of right now. But before, there was about 72,000 homes in the Metro Atlanta area that were owned by corporate investors. So what this means, like the lady said, is that they are sucking up the inventory for first-time home buyers that are looking to possibly buy houses. And what they're doing is they're making you guys turn into renters. And it sucks that people are like, well, we are in a time period right now where inflation is very, very high. So it's either rent at a cheaper amount right now or buy a house with a higher monthly mortgage. And so because of that, a lot of these corporate companies are kind of controlling how the rental prices shift. At one time, prior to just Invitation Homes and Progress Residential and Main Street Renewal kind of just sucking up the market, down here there's a management company that also was sucking up the market called Excalibur Homes. They were in Georgia area. They're also in Florida. They might be in other states, I'm not sure. But in the Georgia area, every time we as realtors, what we do is when you come to us as a renter client, we go into our MLS. You guys can also see some of these rentals on Zillow, but it's always wise to utilize a realtor that's local to the area, that understands what's happening in the area, that can guide you through the process, because a lot of people nowadays on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, wherever you search for houses at the moment, Instagram, whatever, some of these are not legit properties. Some of these are scammers or scammers basically, or fraudulent people utilizing these platforms to get you guys to give them money in order for them to then run off with your money, and then you get into the house, you find out a week later or two you do not have possession of said house as far as a renter, and then you're kicked out due to the local jurisdiction in the area. So a lot of people like to come to realtors, especially when they're coming from out of state and they don't know the area, just to make sure they're not getting ripped off or scammed as far as coming into this area. But like I said, going back to what we as realtors do, when you come to us as a renter, we go into our MLS system, which stands for the Multiple Listing Service System, and we kind of go through there according to whatever specifics you give us. Like if you say you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this particular area at this price point, we go and we put all the fine details into our MLS system, so then that way we can push you out homes that service what you are looking for. And inside our MLS system, a lot of it has been taken over by Progress Residential because they have bought a lot of homes down here in Main Street Renewal, and also Invitation Homes and Excalibur. At one point, Excalibur Homes was a big servicer in our MLS system. However, if you guys don't know, just recently, one of their biggest investors, which is Starwood Capital, I believe that's their name, Starwood Capital Group or Starwood Trust Capital Group, they basically just took their homes from Excalibur Homes and shifted it over to Invitation Homes, and they are liquidating a couple of their homes on the market. So hopefully you guys will be able to possibly see some homes that might pop up on the market at a cheaper rate from these local investors. If you guys don't know, what happened is, like during the pandemic, but also during the financial hardship as far as real estate in 2007, 2008 market, a lot of investors came down into areas like Atlanta, Arizona, different places where the real estate was cheap, and they bought up a lot of property. And then from there, they started amassing more and more. As the pandemic happened, interest rates went down, it was cheaper to borrow monies. They started taking up single family homes, which then in turn helped to, unfortunately, which sucks to say this, it kind of raised the prices outside of people having bidding wars to find homes because the inventory was too low. With this happening, a lot of these renter companies have been able to basically offset the market. And in Georgia, it's a fair market system. Every state, like I tell people, when it comes to real estate, everything's local to your market. Every state is different. We don't live, I always tell people this and they laugh at me, but we don't live in the United States of America. We live in the divided states of America, meaning that every state in America has their own laws. They're governed by their own governor. We don't all have a majority rule law in every state when it comes to certain things. We have certain things that's majority across the board, but when it comes to real estate, it's local to your state, it's local to your market, it's local to your city, your county, everything. So you got to kind of dwindle it down into like a small little funnel. So like I said, down here in the metropolitan area, we do have a lot of corporate rental companies that have amassed a big renter portfolio with a lot of houses down here for rent, unfortunately. And let's kind of shift over a little bit off of this thing as far as these companies taking over the local Atlanta market. And like I said, I think there was about 72,000 actually corporate-owned rentals in the Atlanta market. And there are some communities, like stated in the video, that Invitation Homes kind of went and bought a lot of new construction houses, communities and everything, and have a lot of rentals in those particular properties and subdivisions as well. Well, in those particular subdivisions, not properties, but those particular subdivisions. But what's happening with all these corporate investors sucking up so many rentals, and there's so many things available on the market, and they started using a company called Rently. I don't know if Rently is still in existence or not, but Rently was basically a company in which you could self-tour yourself. You didn't need a realtor. You didn't need no one from the management company to open up doors, because a lot of these corporate companies, they have a office in place in the Metro Atlanta area. However, they don't go and actually service these properties. So like even what the gentleman said at the end, he was like, well, if you need a new home, Invitation Homes give you, if you need a new roof, Invitation Homes will give you a new roof. Trust and believe, it don't work like that. I've worked with several clients that I put into rental properties, and unfortunately they had to go into an Invitation Homes or an Excalibur Homes or a Main Street Renewal or Progress Residential. Maybe it was based on a credit score, maybe it's based on a certain area they wanted to be in. They had no choice because a lot of these investors suck up those areas. And when that happens, these corporate companies, they don't care about you. They care about the money. They're not caring about the person interaction. So when something breaks in these homes or things happen, they're not coming out to fix anything right away. They don't care about what's happening with your roof. They don't care about your HVAC system. They don't care if a water leaks or something happens. They take their time. You put in a maintenance request, as they have you guys do on a portal or whatever, and then in turn, it just exacerbates, and it takes forever for them to come and actually service the client. So they're actually doing a disservice and not a help to, one, the home buyer that's looking to possibly buy a home at an affordable price because they're sucking up the market and as far as taking the inventory off. And then two, they're doing a disservice as far as when they are becoming a landlord, they're not actually servicing the tenant. And they always turn around and say, well, my thing is not about the tenant, it's about the owner of said property. So, but in this case, you have them actually being the owners. Like Excalibur's whole thing was like, well, we don't own the properties, we service the tenant. I mean, the landlord, we don't service the tenants. But I always tell people that when you get into business, and particularly real estate, this is a customer service business. You service both. You service the landlord, you service the tenant. You want both to be happy, so then that tenant continues to stay with that landlord. If you don't allow for both parties to be happy, you make sure that the landlord gets their money, you make sure the tenant is getting serviced correctly. And if you're a middleman like Excalibur, as far as a management company, you're there to manage. You're not there to say, I just service one side, not the other side. So that kind of gets a lot of stuff going on as far as these companies doing people a disservice, right? But needless to say, going back to, because I kind of went on a tangent, going back to what I was saying in regards to these companies being on our MLS system, in turn, you guys go, you apply for said companies and as we know, what's happening now a lot is there is a big squatter issue happening. Just a couple months ago, Atlantis basically came out with a news article around basically 1,200 houses having squatters in them, and there actually has been a rise of squatters not only in the Atlanta market but also around the nation, and I'm pretty sure around the world as well, in regards to people squatting on properties. Because I understand, so I kind of look at it both sides. I get that squatters are taking are upticking because the inflation is too high, people need somewhere to live, they don't have a job and all that stuff, and so they're trying to find somewhere for shelter, right? And some of these shelters are overcrowded, so they can't get any spaces, so they don't want to live on the streets, so they try to go and squat in people's houses. However, on the other side, this is called trespassing. You cannot just go into someone's property and just squat on their property. So it's like on the landlord side, you guys are now going into here and you're squatting on people's properties, and you're doing this person who bought this house, if they're a mom and pop investor, you're doing them a disservice because it takes months on end to try to get people out via the eviction process in the court system, because everything's backed up due to the pandemic and everything that's happening in this world right now. When it comes to the institutional investors, the corporate investors that have bought these properties, just from my own experience, I've had, like I said, I had several renter clients that I have taken to properties that were either owned by Progress Residential, Main Street Renewal, Excalibur Home, well, not Excalibur Homes anymore. So what Excalibur Homes started doing, and like I said, they don't own that many properties as much no more because a lot of their biggest investors kind of pulled out from them. But what they were doing is that they were boarding up the houses. They were putting actual physical boards on the door, wooden boards on the door, and in some instance they might put on some of the windows, and you wouldn't be able to actually get inside the house and see it until after you put down a deposit. They called it a reserve fee, or I'm trying to make sure I'm right, you guys. It's basically like a fee that you put down, which end up in turn transferring into like your security deposit. So you had to put this fee down before you kind of went inside the property, and then if you didn't like said property, you can get that fee refunded and you can apply it to another property with Excalibur Homes. It was a big workaround. If you guys haven't checked out my last video around Excalibur Homes, go check it out. It is on my YouTube page, and you can kind of get a gist more about that situation. But that's what Excalibur Homes was doing to try to alleviate some of the squatter situations. However, I have been to several places. Like I said, one time I went with a client, she was looking for a home, and actually not just one time, several times, but I'm gonna take this particular situation. We were driving around, we pulled up to a house, and as I pulled up to the house to show her the house, I had realized that the lockbox on the door was off the door. There was no longer a lockbox, so we couldn't get in the house. And then I called Progress Residential, because Progress Residential was over this property. I called them, I said, hey, I believe there's a squatter in the house. The lockbox is not on the door, the lights is on the house, a fan is like blowing around, all that stuff. And they were like, yeah, we were alerted that there is a squatter in the house, and so this house is no longer available to rent. So it took them several months, and every time I went back to check, because my client was interested in that house, they still hadn't resolved the situation. So it's taken several months for these companies to get these squatters out. But again, this is what's happening as I shift back to like I was talking in regards to Rently. They allow people to self-tour, and when you allow people to self-tour, unfortunately, we don't live in a world where we can create an honorary system, right? We don't live in a world where people we honor and we trust that if we give you a code to something, that you're going to go in the house, you're going to look at it, you're going to put the key back, and then you're going to go about your merry way, and then you're going to come to us and you're going to actually pay said fee, application fee, said deposit to get the rental. So what's happening is that because of companies like Rently and these other companies that created this self-touring mechanism, it allowed people to get inside the house. They could just schedule an appointment online, get inside the house, have access to said house, and then once they're in the house, they break the keypad off, they break the keypad or the lock off, and then they stay in the house. And people are like, well, you know, when you have to self-tour, they take your ID, they take this. I'm like, well, if somebody can always put another ID in there, somebody can always create another name. There's always loopholes to every system, and that's what people do. So this is what was happening with these self-guided tours down here in Atlanta, because these big corporations that own the 3 big corporations that own 19,000 units down here, they did not want to pay a realtor, and nor did they want anybody from their company to come out and check on said property, because they are very lazy. That's what happens when you deal with corporations. Corporations service themselves. They don't service actual people. They don't service communities. They don't care. They're about making their own money. So what was happening in regards to that, they went to another company that said, oh, we can X out the real estate agent. We can X out any people at your company as far as using a certain team at your company to go out and open said doors for people to get inside and view the property like they used to do back in the day. We can exit them out. We'll give you an actual code, a lockbox you put on the door, type in key, they schedule online, type in key code, type in the key code that we give them, and bam, they're in the house. And this created a big squatter problem down in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. I'm not sure if this is happening in other states. I can just talk about what's happening in Atlanta, right? It got so bad that I don't even know if you guys saw the news report in regards to this particular people down here had an Instagram page that serviced squatters. Let's check it out, y'all.
Hey, sir, it's Justin Gray with Channel 2. Are you selling a squatter home right here? You got the keys? Did you talk to JP about the keys?
That's how our undercover investigation came to an abrupt end. But let's rewind and go back to how it began, with a scroll through Instagram. At first glance, it's just another real estate pro hustling to rent homes on social media.
You will get a guaranteed 6 months rent-free.
But at One Time Payment Homes, the site makes it clear. These are squatter homes and spells out just what that means in a pinned Insta story.
The company owners will come out, so will the police. The police will tell you it's a civil matter. It's nothing they can do about it. Squatters' rights.
This is a criminal act. This is stealing. And it needs to be looked at that way.
Property owners and managers say the squatting problem has exploded over the past year in Metro Atlanta.
It's like I gave away $200,000. This is how I feel.
Michael Holmes used his life savings to buy this DeKalb County home out of foreclosure 8 months ago as a rental property.
It's been a nightmare.
The alleged squatter living inside has filed more than 30 motions in court to tie up Holmes' effort to get him out.
If I can't bring this to some type of resolution, I'll be in jeopardy of filing bankruptcy.
One Time Payment Homes is running a New Year's special, $1,400 for keys and a lease. So as a squatter, you can, quote, stack money and turn your life around.
And it makes you feel like, why do you play by the rules if everyone doesn't have to?
To see how it worked, we sent a Channel 2 producer, JP, undercover.
You're just going to say, I saw your post on Instagram. I'm curious how this process works.
Okay.
JP exchanged a series of messages with One Time Payment Homes over the course of a week and paid his $500 deposit through Apple Pay. That's when we were told to take our pick of any home posted on the real estate website Rently. The CEO of the National Rental Home Council says Atlanta is seeing more squatters than anywhere else in the nation.
We're seeing situations of trespassing in Atlanta that we're not seeing anywhere else in this country in terms of scale.
Back to our house hunt, we settled on a home in Union City. But the day of the meetup, we're told it's off market, but that they do have keys for this house nearby, managed by Progress Residential and also posted on Rently. We were told to meet at a gas station to exchange the rest of our one-time payment for keys. Then we would get an email with the lease.
Hi there. JP? Nice to meet you.
But the meetup lasted only seconds.
So how does all this work?
Basically, I'll get you keys or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
I'm gonna be back.
Okay.
As soon as they saw our Channel 2 camera coming, the One Time Payment Homes representative took off running.
Hey, sir, it's Justin Gray with Channel 2. Are you selling a squatter home right here? You got the keys? Did you talk to JP about the keys?
But it wasn't the end of the Instagram account. They're still offering move-in deals.
The person that designed that business, if you want to call it a business, is a criminal.
We've reported on multiple squatter horror stories in the past 12 months on Channel 2, like when a squatter moved into Army Colonel Dahlia DeRay's DeKalb home while she was on active duty.
I felt violated.
Police eventually pulled guns and drugs out of her house when they arrested the squatter and served an intruder affidavit, bypassing the regular court eviction process. Property owners say for the problem to stop, courts need to consider squatting as theft, a crime, not a run-of-the-mill eviction case.
Yes, so like as I said earlier in regards to this video, you guys, Progress Residential, Rentley, Main Street Renewal, these corporate investors are allowing, and this, I don't want to say it's intentionally, but it's indirectly, they're allowing the squatters system to pick up. And what's happening is because if you go to one neighborhood and you see one house available, like for rent through Rentley, Progress Residential, and those third-party sites like Main Street Renewal or whatever, but then down the street in the same subdivision, there's another house empty because just a regular mom and pop investor bought a house, you're like, oh, okay, well, it's another empty house. So this is a way in which people are finding additional houses outside of just the corporate houses that are empty. And then also, of course, some people that don't want to use realtors or don't want to use certain management companies, they'll put it on Zillow for rent by owner. And if they don't live there, they then encounter these squatters as well. So all I can say is, you guys, like I said, I kind of broke it down a little bit. If you want more information, you can always reach out to me. There is a thing happening in Georgia right now. You have your intruder affidavit that can help you kind of get through the court system a little quicker as far as getting squatters out your house. They have implemented that in the South Fulton area. I'm not sure if it's all around Georgia as of yet, as far as every county. I believe it's also in DeKalb County as well. Then they also have a bill that they are trying to pass in the Senate as we speak in regards to squatters. It's going to be called the Georgia Squatter Reform Act, House Bill 1017. So check that out. If you want more details around that, you can also reach out to me as well, or you can just go online, Google House Bill 1017, Georgia Squatter Reform Act. Also, reach out to local legislators in your county, in your state, and see if they have any bills currently active through your legislator or somewhere in Congress as far as the squatter issue in your state, in your city. And then don't forget to reach out to a local real estate agent. If you guys are not local in the said city, in regards to if you are an investor, this video is around like the 19,000 corporate owned investors, but also there are people that are mom and pop investors that are being affected by squatters as well. We do want to kind of alleviate so many corporate investors, especially in the metropolitan area, for future homeowners, but also on the side of the investor that's the mom and pop investor. If you guys are dealing with squatter issue, because a lot of these corporate investors, like I said, they're dealing with the squatter issue. But if you're a mom and pop investor dealing with the squatter issue, like I said, exercise that intruder affidavit. Also look into the House Bill 1017 as far as the Georgia Squatter Reform Act, sorry, and get a local realtor or a management company to help you kind of manage their property if you're not local to where your investment is at as far as your rental. And if you do have a rental, make sure you check on it every day if possible. Squatters typically like to move in at night, so make sure you check on that. Also, don't forget to put cameras around, anything that can kind of trigger that when somebody gets in your house that they're not supposed to be there. Put a Ring doorbell, put some type of alert, you guys, so then that way you can protect your property that you have worked so hard for if you are a local mom and pop investor, because I know how hard it is to save so much money as a local investor and then to turn around and have to go through the court system. And basically they can kind of force you into foreclosure, because these squatters, they understand, like the IG said, they understand how to go to court system, how to push these motions and to extend the squatting them squatting in the house for several months or maybe a year on ends. All right. So again, if you are interested in more around this subject, or you need more information in regards to the metropolitan Atlanta area, whether it be the 19,000 corporate investors, and like I said, that number is kind of more than just 19,000. That's just with the three particular companies: Progress Residential, Main Street Renewal, and also Invitation Homes. So if you need more information about that, don't hesitate to reach out. If you are a renter looking to possibly rent in the metropolitan area, like I said, you can reach out to me as well. I can also give you to a wonderful realtor in my brokerage that can help service you and make sure you get into your rental at the price that you're looking for. We are in 2024. There are not a lot of rentals in Atlanta. If you're looking for 2-3 bedrooms and you're trying to get $800 rentals, do not come my way, because I cannot service you, and nor do I want to do a disservice to you or to myself, because I know currently in this market we don't have that right now. All right, so I don't want to waste your time and try to act like we have something that we don't in this metropolitan area. Prices are going up, inflation is crazy, and we pray to God that the future sees something better for us as Americans, and also for homeowners and renters that decide to continue renting in the future. All right, again, my name is Devon Clark, or you can call me Clark the Realtor. You can reach out to me anytime via my email account, which is below. It's dclarktherealtor@gmail.com. If you want more information, or you just want to have a conversation around real estate, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and hit that notification bell whenever I upload new videos to this channel. And thank you guys for watching, and I hope you come back, and I hope you subscribe. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.